We are live for the second edition of the Ellis Highlight Reel Limitless Range Basketball Podcast. We are on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook this evening. And I got my boys from Total Apex Media sports section, Shane Foley and Jacob Perrine. Say what's up, fellas.
What up, what up?
What's happening, guys?
And we got a big episode tonight. We got a huge episode. We got to recap this finals. We got to recap what happened in Game 3, but mainly Game 4 and Game 5, where the Knicks ended up winning this series, winning the first title in 53 years. So, who wants to start with Game 3 real quick? We'll go over Game 3 real quick. The Spurs lone win in this series. We previewed it on the last pod. The Spurs actually made some of the adjustments we talked about on last pod, which is on YouTube right now, and everything like that. I think they made certain things with Harper. They played Harper more down the stretch in that game. They also made certain things with had all three guards together on the court during the stretch in that game. Also, Wemby actually looked like Wembanyama in the fourth. The only time really he looked like Wembanyama in the fourth quarter.
Well, it wasn't just in the fourth. He started out great. I think he was aggressive early on. That really made a difference in that game.
100%. I mean, that they controlled the tempo, and the Garden was kind of off emotion wise, as we alluded to, because of the situation with the White House. Yeah. So I'm not going to talk about it anymore. We already got enough White House coverage with this UFC event last weekend, so we don't need to have more coverage. So anyway, let's get into Game 4, because Game 4 is the one that really changed this series. And I'm going to give it to Jacob first. Start with your thoughts on Game 4.
Well, it was just the way it started. I was very impressed with how the Spurs came out and were very aggressive early on in that game. I was very impressed with Wemby's aggressiveness. I was very impressed with Champagne's aggressiveness. They were just coming out, smoking threes. They were defending like crazy. And it felt like, heading into halftime, I remember I went to the gym at halftime. I'm just like, it's 29 points. They're done. Like, it's going to be tied 2-2. We're going back to San Antonio. And it's going to be a long series. And I literally just get done with my workout. I look at my phone, and it's like a 4-point game. And I'm like, oh, no. And so I come back home, and I watch the rest of that fourth quarter. And the thing – and I sort of was following it online, and the thing that stood out to me was the fact that when they came out of halftime, they shot 8 straight threes. The aggressiveness to try and get in the paint and keep asserting yourself was kind of just like they kind of dozed off. And, I feel like coming out and shooting 8 straight threes kind of gave the Knicks a little bit of like, oh, okay, we can do this. We can start to get back in it. And they just took momentum from that quarter on. And then and then we get to that last minute. That last minute was just atrocious. Actually, the last 2 minutes, because the Spurs were still leading heading in the final 2 minutes. I think they were leading by 4. Yep. And then they blow that lead quickly. And it was just like, and Tim Legler said a good thing about he had a spot on observation about the last 2 minutes in the Spurs offense. He was just like, the Spurs don't know what they're doing on offense. They don't know what they want to do.
Right.
And it was so obvious that last 2 minutes. And then we get to that last minute. And obviously, everybody talks about the Fox play.
Yeah.
And to be fair, that was a horrendous play. You dribble it out and things like that. I think the Wemby 2 missed free throws were bigger than that.
And then he also missed 2 in Game 5 too. Wemby also missed.
You still had the lead even after Fox did what he did. You still had a lead, and then they come back down. Brunson takes a highly contested 3 over 2 Spurs.
Yep.
But nobody gets the box out on OG. So, and it just their backs were broken from that point on. Then obviously Game 5, it just trickled down even further.
Yeah, we will talk about the Hannah OG moment and ranking among NBA Finals moments later in this pod in more detail. But we have to talk about the De'Aaron Fox play in more detail. I'm glad you brought up in your normal sequence, Jacob, the De'Aaron Fox play. I'll start with it, and I'll give it to y'all. I mean, like Jacob said, that play was not great. It was not a good look for De'Aaron Fox. It's also ironic, too, that Mike Brown was on the sideline. And do we remember when Darryn committed an and one foul? I think it was against the Pelicans back a couple of years ago. And where Mike Brown was the coach.
It was against the Pistons, actually.
That was the Pistons.
Yeah.
You're right. It was the Pistons. And so with it on the corner, Darryn commits a foul. They get the and one, to get the 4-point play to win the game. Yeah. Mike Brown has his comments after the game. The next day, Mike Brown gets fired as the Kings head coach, and they bring in Christie because of that. And it's ironic that Mike Brown was on the opposite sidelines when Darryn had another fourth quarter kind of gaffe, as you will, which is crazy to think about, like the hyperbole of that situation. But going into the play itself, Darryn gets a great steal to start the play. A great steal.
Well, it wasn't really a steal. It was a tap out that ended up because
you're right. It was a rebound that
tapped out, and he was the first one.
It was a turnover. It was a turnover. Either way you slice it.
Something that happened, yeah. So I mean, he gets a great play on the defensive side to get to the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great hustle.
But at the same time, and the fact that his comments were, "I'm trying to get a layup to go up 3 in that situation. If you bring it out and get fouled, you're up 3 anyway." That's the problem with his logic after the game.
And then you burn clock at the same time. So it's a win-win.
It's a win-win situation. And the fact of the matter is, too, I saw this on Spurs Twitter a little bit, and I saw it some places on Twitter. If the Spurs had a veteran point guard on that team, they would not be losing that game, and they would not have lost game 2. A veteran point guard that knows situations. They had that veteran point guard last year on their roster, which is Mr. CP3. Granted, CP3 is older, and I don't think it would have worked with CP3 unless, you only played him in those certain in the half and the fourth quarter situations. The way he looked this year for the Clippers, I am the biggest CP3 guy ever. Like, he's one of my favorite players of all time, and that's me saying that. But in the moment, I was like, if you had CP3 in those moments on the sideline or on the court in those closeout moments with, instead of Fox in that situation, who knows?
Well, I just think on the side, having him on the sideline would be definitely a benefit in that moment too. Yeah,
for sure.
So, like,
Shane,
even with
Fox.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab for my Tylenol in a second, but all right. So you know how in the press conference he said his thought process was he wanted to be up 3.
Yep.
That's why I'm angry, and that shows he didn't understand the situation.
Yeah.
So let's give him credit for the play. I know that it wasn't really a steal; it was like a tip away, and then he ran after the ball. But either way,
he hustled for it, so give him credit on that.
But let's say that didn't happen. Let's say the Knicks take a shot and they miss, and the Spurs get a rebound with 9 seconds to go. What happens?
Yeah.
They walk down the court, kill the clock, and probably start celebrating early because the games are, done.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Knicks had a foul to give, but doesn't matter. Anyways, so that goes back to De'Aaron Fox's mindset. In that situation, being up 3 gives you no difference than being up 1. Like, taking the clock out is more valuable than getting those extra 2 points.
Yeah.
The only thing is that if he did what I think he should have done, which is you take the ball and you just hide in the corner, or make sure that they don't get it. Okay. So worst case scenario, they foul you. You can then make your free throws, and then you'll be up 3.
Yeah.
But if they don't want to take that shot, they're going to have to defend you. So the only thing that you can do is, just dribble it out, turtle it, and end the game. It's over.
Yeah.
So
we'll just play keep away, just run away from the defenders trying to foul you.
Yeah, exactly.
Try to burn as much clock as you can.
Yeah, he could have done that. He could have thrown it into the ceiling, and hopefully it'll take 9 seconds for the hang time to come down. He could have done a bunch of it, but his mindset was. I don't know if he saw Josh Hart on his hip when he was going for that layup.
Oh, you mean OG? It was OG.
You mean OG?
It was OG that made the play. Yeah, okay. So I don't know if you saw OG, but he still should I was just the second he started to go turbo speed, I was like, he's gonna go for a layup, isn't he? And it just wasn't you have to. In that situation, you have to be thinking, we get the ball back, we kill the clock, and we win the game. And, a lot of people, I'll finish it with this, a lot of people were saying, the Spurs are inexperienced or whatever. And I was pushing we're going to be fine. And they looked situationally great for a couple series. And then the Knicks series, they got exposed for not knowing situational basketball. And, I needed a Tylenol after that game.
I don't blame you.
I'm gonna build off of that real quick. So the play would make more sense. Let's say he hustled to get the ball and OG's still at half court when he picks it up.
Yeah.
Like then if you go for the layup, it's wide open. Sure, take it. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
But OG is right there, and I do think I'll push back against what Shane said. I do think he saw OG there. He just thought he was faster than OG.
Yeah.
And evidently he was not faster than OG because OG's got go gadget arms and he's able to get up there and block it.
So that makes it worse because it's not a wide open layup. It's it's probably a 50% you make it or OG has hands and stops it, which is what he did.
Unless you try to draw the foul, which would be kind of smart in that situation. But at the same time, you're just like, but why are you still taking that shot?
Yeah,
exactly.
Why are you still risking it? Yeah. It's just the execution, the late game execution in this series for the Spurs was just downright atrocious.
It was.
And it's crazy to me when I saw a stat for this series that said, the Spurs led for 72% of this entire series. Like 72%. That's insane to me. And they still somehow lost because it comes down to the fourth quarter execution. And it takes, people executing on the court, but it also takes the coach executing the game plan. Being like, okay, so-and-so's not hot tonight. Like it doesn't make any sense to go into, and we'll talk more about Game 5 here in a little bit, but it makes no sense in Game 5 to take Champagnie out and not play him a single minute in the fourth quarter. Your best shooter, and you don't play him a single minute. And he's not even in for the final play. You had Fox, Castle, who was 1 for 10. And then you had Harper, Wemby, and Vassell. Take Fox or take Castle out so you can have a better shot at it. It's just it was just poor game management by Mitch Johnson late in the fourth quarters. It was poor performances and decision making by the players as well.
Yeah, and you know what?
Just
real quick, it's a bit of Monday morning quarterbacking, but you have a point about the Castle thing because if he was 1 for 10 going into the fourth, and I think he missed a couple of free throws in that last sequence. If you took him out for Champagnie's probably not missing those free throws.
And also, here's the thing too with Castle. Castle's one field goal made in that game was in that fourth quarter, which is crazy. It was off a rebound. It was off a rebound and it was a putback dunk. That key sequence in that late that kept the Spurs in it and it gave them the opportunity to maybe win it. But the fact of the matter is, if you put him out there, I mean, if you keep him out there for his defense, that's fine. If I would probably sub either Fox or Vassell for Champagnie because
I don't know about Vassell. Vassell's a really good 3-point shooter.
No, I get that. But you're not taking Castle out because of his defense. I don't think you're taking.
Okay, I can understand that.
I agree with you. Well, I know we'll get to 5 later, but I would have done that. But then I would have had Castle on Spurs. There's a couple of other things that weren't that. defending Brunson.
Yeah,
we'll get to
exactly.
5.
We'll get to 5. We'll get to 5 here in a little bit. But I want to talk about 4 in this aspect too. Give credit to the Knicks for not giving up right away in that third quarter when they were, down, like coming in out, out of half setting the tone, battling throughout that third to get it to win manageable. That was the most impressive part about that sequence of game 4.
Yeah.
And it's also the dumbness of the Spurs, like you said earlier, Jacob, shooting 8 straight threes coming,
you're not coming out and taking control and really, really like making it hard, because like if they come out, let's say they come out and they go aggressive and they're trying to get into the paint, get fouls, and let's say they make a couple shots at the beginning of that third quarter. Sorry.
Yeah. The game
like that changes the whole dynamic of the momentum, because you come out and you miss 8 straight threes. Now, New York's got a little bit of life and a little bit of juice in them, especially if it's at home. Maybe it's harder if it's the Knicks to come back, but at MSG's got a whole different atmosphere. If they get a little bit of momentum, it's gonna start really avalanching on you. So that whole sequence was just bad.
All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's talk about the hand of OG, which was the tip in that gave the Knicks the win in Game 4. Let's talk about that moment before we get into Game 5. First, let's talk about the breakdown of it continues with Fox, because I think Fox's responsibility was OG in that situation. I don't think it was either. Someone had to guard the inbounder. It was, I don't know.
Somebody had to box out. You just find them in and box them out. That's literally it's basketball 101 right there. You teach that in grade school.
Yeah. And two
no
of them
matter what, doesn't matter. Find a body, box out.
Yeah, exactly. And find a body, whoever it is. I don't know why Wemby also felt the need to contest the three-pointer in that situation instead of being that big body.
Well, I can understand it to a certain extent because they were trying to double team Brunson to get the ball out of his hands, but Brunson ended up just pulling it when he got a little bit of space, but that was a tough shot.
It's also here's the thing about Brunson. He shot it early to give enough time for the tip in to work.
Yeah.
Which is what some teams forget to do in that situation. They wait till it's like 3 seconds, 2 seconds left on the clock.
They're trying to hit a buzzer beater and not have any time, but even then, that's not enough time for a rebound. Yeah.
It's not enough time for the tip in if you miss
it. But so dark theory, do you think that Brunson shot it early because he knew Wemby was on him and he thought, if I miss this, there's a good chance OG comes through with the putback?
Well, that's the thing. He shot it quick. He probably doesn't know about OG's positioning, and he's not getting boxed out.
Yeah. Well, well, I don't think the mindset there was like, I'm going to shoot it quick because OG's got a runway right to the rim. I don't think he had that idea. He was just trying to shoot it.
Also, here's the thing too. OG kind of starts slow because he's calling for the ball back from Brunson, but as Brunson is taking the shot, he's like getting in position for him to take the shot instead of Brunson. But then he realizes Brunson took the shot. Then that's when he goes on the dead sprint for the tip.
Yeah,
which is recognition on OG's part. Now let's get into other compare this to other finals moments, okay, and rank it. Let's just do recent finals. Let's just do since the 2020 finals, since the bubble. Where is this ranking the top moments of since the bubble, since the Lakers championship?
I mean,
this is the OG putback, not the block, right?
Yeah, not the block from OG on Fox. This is this is OG's tip in the hand of God, hand of OG, as they're coining it.
You said you don't think it's as good as the LeBron block?
It's not as good as LeBron's block. But
no. Not with the series implications.
No, not game 7.
So I'll say this
from 2020 on, from 2020 on.
Okay. So I can't. If y'all think of something, I'll hear it. I can't think of too many other moments. I can think of runs in this decade. Yeah. But in terms of moments, maybe the hand of OG has it. But in my opinion, I would not have had Wemby because though Jacob said it earlier, the people that were on the floor they went 3 guards. Yep. So it was Wemby, Fox, Castle, Harper, and Basal on the floor.
Yeah.
Of those 5 people that I mentioned, only one of them can probably is going to be able to box out OG.
Yeah.
Or forget about boxing out, to be able to contest for a rebound. That's Wemby. I know what you said about like they were trying to double the ball to get out of Brunson's hands, but going back to what Brandon said, I know Castle didn't have the bad game in Game 4; he had it in Game 5. But you have him out there to defend Jalen Brunson, and I think you have to tell him you have to man up on Brunson. If he, if he makes a shot in front of Castle's face, then you give him credit. Yeah. But like, he could still shoot over Wemby. The only difference is if you miss, there's nobody. So like, OG was he called for a pass. Yeah. And then when he saw that Brunson was going to shoot, he went for the. But even if he was just like in the paint and like waiting for the ball, he probably comes down with that rebound because Wemby's not there.
Well, the thing is, even without Wemby there, they had good box out. Everybody else had their man boxed out. Castle had his man boxed out. Cat couldn't get to the ball. They had Vassell. He was boxing out. The only person that wasn't boxing out was Fox, who should have been boxing out OG. But the thing is, like, even if you have a putback opportunity, it has to be a quick one. He has to come back down, go up quick with it. But even then, that's going to take a little bit of time to get off, and you don't know how that's going to work out. So, but not boxing him out, having him have a free runway to get right to the rim for a tip in like that, it like you just can't have that. That's just a breakdown you can't have because he's too big to have that, and everybody else is boxed out, and the rebound comes right back towards him. So you kind of have to have that that sequence. You have to box out no matter what. Like, even though I agree, like, even if they had a box out, you're still trying to box out OG. But even then, you box them out, it's hard to get rebounded when you're boxed out.
Yeah, I lost connection there. I hope y'all make great points.
We're talking smack about you, don't worry. Here's the ultimate question, Jacob. Do you think that Fox as a guard who doesn't play in the paint a lot, is he not going to know to box out in that situation, or is it no excuse? You're an NBA player.
It's no excuse. No matter what, in that situation, you have to box out and go for the rebound. Exactly. And that's just basketball 101. Even like, you could be the smallest guy on the floor, but in that situation, you still got to box out and get ready to grab a rebound or, contest something or make it tougher for somebody else to get a rebound that you're boxing out and make it tougher for them.
Yeah.
But you can't. It's just inexcusable not to have that happen.
Yeah. And so Shane said, if we thought of moments, I have a few. Okay. Finals moments from 2020 that could compete with it. Obviously, Giannis's oop. The Holiday steal the Giannis's oop in Game 5 of that 2021 finals.
Well, don't forget in that series too, because I was thinking about that series in particular. Don't forget the block on 8.
The block on 8.
I forget which one. I think it was like a
Game 3.
4 or 3. Yeah,
it was Game 3. So it was Game 3.
Yeah, that block on 8, and that was like go gadget sort of stuff, man.
Yeah. So the 2 Giannis moments probably rival this. The atmosphere of the Garden makes OG's moment probably better than one of those, not both. I think the more iconic one is the Game 5 play, where Holiday gets to steal, and that pose that Giannis had that silenced the crowd in Phoenix in that moment.
Yeah.
I think that Kodak moment right there tops the Hannah OG right now. Recency bias. Sure, I'll give the Knicks fans praise.
Yeah,
in that sense, recency bias, you can give it to Hannah OG. But when you look back on it, those 2 Giannis moments, could top it. Also, want to get into There was a one moment too that I kind of wanted to get to, the Curry dagger in 2022 when he goes first does night.
Yeah.
When he really brought out the night. That moment, yes, the Warriors were like going to win that series anyway.
Yeah.
And when Curry brings out the night for the first time and continues it, that's a moment for me that is one of the moments that you have to put on there.
Yeah.
As a list. Maybe the hand of OG, like, it's better because it was a, completed the largest comeback.
You also have to consider the fact that out of all the finals the last 6 years, maybe only a couple of them were really close ones. I mean, 2023 was in 5, 2024 was in 5.
Yep.
2025 was obviously that went 7 games, but maybe the Halliburton game winner, we could put that in there too for game 1.
Yeah, in game 1.
Yeah.
Out of the loser, that moment has to be on there.
Yeah.
Obviously, that series is defined by the unfortunate injury to Halliburton, the Achilles injury.
Yeah.
That's another moment that people look back on, for sure. I don't know, like it's tough to rank the hand of OG right now, and that's why I only wanted to do it the last 6 years since 2020, because it's hard to rank it all time right now until you get the full context of like you have the full context of it completing the largest comeback in NBA playoff history. Well, one of the largest comebacks but the largest comeback in NBA finals in history. Mainly. And everything like that. And it's like, and that's really gonna weigh it up there. And I think a lot of people will be like, it's like recency bias. It's probably the greatest playoff moment, like NBA Finals moment ever. I'm like, not better than the shot. It's not better than LeBron's block.
No.
It's not better than
Ray Allen's 3.
It's not better than go back to Allen Iverson step over.
Yeah,
for me, it's not better than AI step.
In terms of
for everyone, I dare someone to talk smack about
it. As iconic.
Yeah, as iconic right now. It's iconic, but it's not those iconic types of moments. It's not, and also too, if you want to go,
it's not the Jordan step back to win his 6th championship. It's not that one.
It's not the shot. Yeah, that's
not
the
shot.
Yeah, it's not that.
It's not the shrug game, to be honest with you, either, against Portland. The one of his first championships in the first three-peat. Yeah. It's not that. It's not the iconic switch hands layup against.
It's not even like the flu game either.
No,
like in terms of where it would rank, maybe all time. I feel like it would. Recency bias aside, I feel like it would probably be in the middle of the pack. Like it'd be like a mid-tier sort of moment. Like, oh yeah, this is a big moment, but it's not like iconic. Like it's iconic for obviously the franchise, the Knicks, but it's not. I don't think it'll really live on too much in infamy.
I don't think. Here's the thing with it. I think it will live on in the terms of this decade. I think this decade's NBA Finals moments, I think it will end up being top 2, top 3, if not top NBA Finals moments of the 2020s. Okay, and now granted, we still got 2027 Finals, 2028.
Yeah, we still got a few more years to go.
There's a few more years of more moments that could be potentially bigger than the hand of OG.
Yeah,
but for right now, I would say it's definitely in the top 3.
Yeah.
And I would put I would put the holiday steal and the oop to Giannis at 1. Then the hand of OG, and then the block on Ayton from that same 2021 series. Then the Curry night. That's that's how I would have the top 4 moments right now of the decade. Then Halliburton's game winner. Well, Halliburton's game winner. Then the Halliburton Achilles pop.
Well, don't forget I feel like the Halliburton game winner should be a little bit more noteworthy because of how they had to come back to win that game.
Yeah, exactly.
They were down 10. They were down 10 with 2 minutes left to go.
Yeah,
and they came all the way back to win.
Yeah, they came all the way back to win it. But it should be more noteworthy. I I think that
obviously if they won it, it would have been more noteworthy. But
it would have been even more noteworthy than Curry's night. But that's the thing about the Curry night. That was the first one. The more iconic Curry night was obviously in 2024 Paris, like where he had that run and did the night after where it put it out of reach.
You're talking about Game 7 in 2024 against the Kings when they.
No, I'm talking about the gold medal game.
Oh yeah, the gold medal game. Yeah. That's pretty
against France. That is the most iconic use of the night.
Yeah,
in Curry's history is that Paris. The game against France in the gold medal game.
Yeah,
that is the most iconic use of the Curry night I have ever seen. I should.
Well, that's definitely his career highlight right there. That's definitely going to be up there for.
Well, that's the thing too. We could do this on another time too. Obviously, we have more to talk about, but
yeah,
I want to do Curry moments because Curry moments is one that we could do in the doldrums of the off season.
Yeah,
and we have so many Curry moments.
So that can be an episode.
Yeah, but in terms of moments right now, it's definitely up there, but it's not. Yeah, like I would still put the hand of OG ahead of it for right.
Yeah, obviously, I agree with that. I agree with. I like I said, I have it too. I just think that Giannis. When I look back on it, that stare down from Giannis and how the crowd was dead silent after as he was staring down, flexing.
Yeah,
cold. That is the coldest. Cold. That is the coldest image you'll have of the decade, probably. So that being said, let's get into Game 5. We spent about 30 minutes on Game 4.
Yeah,
let's get into Game 5. Let's get into Klitcher. Let's get to Jalen Brunson's masterpiece of the series, in my opinion. His masterpiece. Scoring 45 of the 94 points. Like Jacob said earlier in the show, tied Michael Jordan for the most in the closeout game on the road ever in finals history.
Yeah.
Also became the fourth person to have 40 or more in a closeout game, joined Bob Pettit, Michael Jordan, and then Giannis Antetokounmpo in that epic closeout at home against the Suns, that 50-point game.
Yeah.
In a closeout, which is crazy. It's like those four guys are the only ones to really have a go off for 40 plus. And you would think several names could have done it. Kobe Bryant didn't do it. LeBron James didn't do it. Guys like that, Larry Bird didn't do it. Like guys, those four names are the only ones in NBA history that have a 40 plus, closeout game.
Yeah.
Ever. And Jalen Brunson is now on that list. Now, obviously, that's the thing too. And as we'll get into the Jalen Brunson side of it, I want to say this before we get into that segment. That obviously sealed the MVP for Jalen Brunson, that 45 goes out. But if he doesn't have that game, how close do you think it would have been between Brunson and OG? Before we get into the actual Game 5 discussion,
I feel like it would have been relatively close just because OG's efficiency was obviously higher than Brunson's in this series. Now, some of that was because of the defensive coverages that both of them saw. Brunson was getting hounded by one of the best defenders in the NBA in Castle. And also they were sending so many people his way. They were really trying to make it hard for Brunson to score in this series. So obviously his efficiency is going to go down. Whereas OG, he kept his efficiency up like from the first round series till now. His efficiency never really wavered. So he kept it consistent on that end. I feel like if Brunson doesn't score 45, and we talked in depth about the hand of OG in that game, and you kind of look at their stats and compare it to each other. I feel like OG would have a pretty good case for it. But obviously, Brunson ended that discussion when he scored 45. So here we are. But I do think he would have had a great case had that not happened.
It would have been like an Iguodala's Curry situation in 2015 when I
don't think it would have been that egregious because
I don't think it would have been that egregious. I'm just saying it would have been that kind of situation.
Yeah, it would have had that comparison, but it wouldn't have been as egregious because Iguodala didn't start until the last 2 games of that series, and he was only averaging 17, whereas Curry was averaging 27.
Yeah.
So it was just too much of a difference. Whereas this one, I think Brunson averaged 32, something like that, and OG had like 24, 25. So it wasn't too big of a difference there.
It wasn't too big of a difference.
Yeah.
In
terms of the counting stats, at least.
Yeah. Shane, go ahead.
See, my thing is like, it's a tough question to answer because like, if you take away the 45 from Brunson, not too many Knicks in general, other than him, did much in Game 5.
Yeah.
OG himself, he only had 11, and I think he was flirting with like 7 points or like 8 points going into the fourth.
Yeah.
So it's not like he took over. So I feel if you think Brunson doesn't do that scoring tremendous performance, drops like a 30 piece, then I would give it to OG.
Yeah.
But if they both kind of had a lax night, but it's out the win, it's tough because like on the one hand you have to give it to Brunson for being the floor general.
Yeah.
He also did a lot of things in every game that didn't necessarily pop out stat wise.
Yeah.
Well, he was the definitive closer in all of these games for them. And he won the game in Game 2 with the free throws, and then obviously the steal. And then Game 1 he hit the Game 2 he hit the tie, he hit the jumper to tie, and then obviously got the steal and was able to hit the free throws to win it. And then Game 1 he took over that last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And so and obviously in Game 4 he took over in the fourth quarter, just could not stop scoring again.
Yeah.
I just feel like it might have been, there might have been discussion. The argument it might have been a little bit closer in terms of the voting, but I don't think. But even if like say Brunson scores 25, OG scores 25 in Game 5, but they still were able to pull out the win. I still think Brunson would have definitively won that pretty easily.
Yeah. I agree with you. Y'all. I just wanted to throw that out because that's what a lot of people have been throwing out there. Obviously, let's get into Game 5 itself. I'm going to start with this. There was a foul late in, probably early in the second half that everyone has been talking about. Is the Wembanyama closeout where his gets into Brunson's landing spot? Space. That is the first thing I want to touch on. If the Spurs would have pulled out that game, right? This has been the question of the day. If the Spurs would have pulled out that game, Game 5, and we have Game 6 tomorrow night, obviously we don't because of what, as we'll get into. Do you think Wemby gets suspended for Game 6 because of flagrant foul points? Do you think the NBA goes in there and even though they didn't call it on the floor, do they
go back and review it and they upgrade it?
Yeah, does the NBA make it a flagrant foul?
I don't think really, because there's nothing definitive about it that makes it a flagrant foul, because they could have done it in the moment. In the moment, it looked really bad, but the more you looked at the replay, it was kind of clear that Brunson was kind of trying. It wasn't his usual shot motion. He was really trying to get Wemby to come out and foul. So it wasn't a natural shooting motion. So it would have been really hard for them to upgrade it, because if they can't upgrade it on the floor, I doubt they're going to go back and be like, yeah, we're going to upgrade it now that we looked at it, like after the game. Like, and that would have been a big story. Like if let's say they win and that happens, you know what I mean? Yeah. Obviously Spurs fans be in an uproar, like, come on, you can't really do that now because, we're heading into a crucial Game 6 and now he can't play. So I just feel like, I don't think that it would realistically, the NBA wouldn't have done it.
I don't think so either. And that's where everyone's like Windhorst said it, like there was a likelihood that he could be missing Game 6 because of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think the NBA wants that to happen in that situation. They would want the best players on the court. And
obviously other fans will have issue with it. Well, you're kowtowing to him because he's a star player. Like, yeah, that's how star players work. They get a little bit more of the benefit. And, a little bit more privileges, but at the same time, you can't. I like from the play itself, I didn't see much there.
Yeah, and from like the NBA's perspective, this is cynical to say, but they probably would want Wemby playing in that 6. So like, if Carter Bryant made that play, maybe he'd get the flagrant points.
Yeah,
he might get that
but he
point.
doesn't get suspended because he doesn't have already 3 flagrant points on him. So
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but I mean, similar situation. But yeah, like and like in general, like I feel like the NBA tried this postseason to let the players play to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Like they were a bit hands off. And then the other thing too is that play that was reviewed for flagrant, like the referees, they took their time looking at that replay. So I would have a hard time if you have a set of eyes looking at it over and over and over again, and it says no flagrant, and then like New York says it's a flagrant. I wouldn't like that. So
yeah. I agree with y'all. I just wanted to bring it up because that's been another trending thing that everyone's been bringing up as of late. Afterwards,
let's do another topic. I've been seeing a lot online. So obviously we talk a lot about De'Aaron Fox's issues, especially during the late games. And in his finals, he only averaged like 11 something 12 points, and he was shooting 36%. So he didn't have a great series. And obviously, I saw an earlier thing today. An article talking about how obviously yesterday before today there was a thing about he had supposedly unfollowed the Spurs on social media.
Yeah.
And then obviously we get to today, and I think somebody reported that the Spurs have come out and said Fox isn't on the trading block. Mm-hmm. And I just want to get your guys' opinion. Do you think the Spurs are lying in this sort of sense that he's not on the trading block? Or do you think they're saying that just so that way they can bring the price down on him a little bit and make it easier to trade him? What are your guys' thoughts about a potential trade for Fox, and obviously, what the Spurs have done or said so far?
I think the move is to move on for Fox, because I think that it's time to let Dylan Harper be the starting point guard.
Yeah.
I think we saw on this playoff run, let alone the finals, he's ready for that role. And he had he was probably the most consistent Spur other than Wemby. Other than that, Wemby's counting stats, but Wemby's efficiency wasn't great. I think Harper was the best Spurs player in this series.
Harper averaged 25. He shot 48%, but he didn't shoot great from 3. It was 28%. But their overall efficiency numbers were really favoring Harper over Wemby in this series.
Yeah. So that's why I think Harper's was the best player off the bench, the most consistent player for the Spurs. Also, I think De'Aaron's mistakes mean you have to kind of move on from this kind of era, the De'Aaron Fox, Castle Harper backcourt. You have to move on from it. And I hate saying that as a De'Aaron Fox guy, because I don't get me wrong, I like Swipa as a player, but I just don't think he's gonna fit this future plans, and the Spurs can get something for De'Aaron Fox. I don't know how much they can get in return.
Well, and also maybe not trade because of play, but because of friction, because you've seen Harper, his growth this season. They drafted him and they thought, okay, we have Fox, he'll mentor him. Maybe in a couple years he'll turn into the star we want. Look, he's well ahead of schedule. He showed it in this playoffs. He's ready for it. And so, and then that sort of creates a little bit of friction, because now you're just like, well, do they do a 3-guard lineup with him in there? But even then, you're giving up so much size. You're taking Vassell out. You're giving up so much size. Yeah. And then obviously, even if you try to put him on the bench, it's just like you create friction. We're like, well, if you keep Harper on the bench, he's not going to like it. I think he's already said he doesn't like it. He wants to get more playing time, and obviously wants a starting role. And then on the flip side for Fox, you can't just bench this guy. He's been an all-star guard in this league for a few years now, and he's a good player. You can't just say, okay, we're just going to put you on the bench. You can't just wave your hand and do that, especially for a guy that you're paying $229 million for. So I just think I do think they need to trade him. I just don't know the suitors obviously yet, but I do think a trade for Fox definitely needs to happen.
Well, I think in terms of suitors, I think San Antonio would be smart by waiting. Just because I don't think this is the time that you're going to get the best trade value for Fox. So I got the stats up right now. He averaged 18 in the regular season. And if you average 18 points in the regular season, you demand a good player back from the trade. Now, in the series, looking at it as a whole, he dropped 7 in Game 5, 7 in Game 1, only 12 in Game 3. The other performances were pretty good, but cost mistakes on top of that. I feel like the GMs around the league are going to be like, we don't really need Fox. But, if you let him come back, and then, maybe you go half a season, All-Star break comes, Fox is playing well, then you get another piece, and then you put Harper in the starting role. And the other thing about the quote of him being like, we have no plans to trade De'Aaron Fox. I remember the GM of the Cleveland Browns saying, we have no plans of trading Myles Garrett. So I don't believe when anyone says that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also Eagles, Howie also said, we're going to trade AJ Brown right now. We're not trading AJ Brown.
Yeah. In other words, don't take anybody at their word. The front office, whether it be NFL, NBA, whatever. Yeah. I think. Sorry to cut you off again.
No, go ahead.
For the Fox trade, I do agree that they're not going to pull a trigger right now because his value is not very high. You're not going to, and other teams may not be knocking down their door like, we really need a Fox right now. Except maybe the Kings might do that again. But that's the only team I could realistically see that doing. But in terms of
here's the thing,
timeline,
the draft. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I was going to say trade deadline would be interesting.
Yeah, I feel like in terms of the timeline, I feel like maybe in a couple months the rumor mill will start swirling around Fox and potential trades, because I think you want to get through the draft first. You want to get at least through the first month of free agency. You really want to see how the NBA landscape kind of goes as a whole this offseason before you really okay, now we're going to have discussions about Fox and moving him.
Yeah. That's the thing, too, because I think the Spurs want to trade him. If they wanted to trade him, they trade him East. They want to trade him in conference.
Yeah.
That most teams would do. I think most teams would trade their potential starter, in this case, not in the same conference where you have to face them on the way to you rather face them in the finals. If that team gets to the finals, then face them.
Here's how I think it'll work out. I think Fox will probably be the second trade that happens this offseason. Obviously, the first one is going to be wherever Giannis goes. So I just think once Giannis sort of opens that door, I feel like the Spurs will be more, appealing to okay, we're going to do this now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I would keep an eye out. Here's a prediction of mine. I would keep an eye out for the Giannis deal that happened draft week, draft night.
Okay, yeah.
I think Milwaukee will want to get a Giannis deal done ASAP in that situation. So that's the thing. Do we wait till moratorium for a Fox rumors to swirl around, or does the Spurs also think we want to be aggressive draft week? As well. That's where we're at right now. Draft the Fox race. I think they wait till moratorium free agency to really look in Fox trades, like you said.
Well, that and because trading him would free up more cap space for them to attack in free agency. So I just feel like and at least I'd probably give it a month. I'd give it a month. My prediction.
I think so too. But yeah, with that being said, let's get into the actual Game 5 breakdown a little.
Yeah.
We already talked and we'll talk about Brunson more here after that. And everything. That being said, let's go ahead and get into the Game 5. The lowest scoring game by far out of all of them, because both teams struggle from the floor. Especially that first one. That first quarter was probably some of the ugliest basketball we've seen.
It was a rock fight throughout the first half. It was a certified rock fight.
Yep. And it was another bad quarter for the Knicks, but they somehow stayed around 10. I was like, they're staying around 10. Okay, the Knicks are going to win this game because the Spurs couldn't pull away. And the fact that the Spurs couldn't pull away when the Knicks had an all-time bad first quarter again, and they were in this game throughout that first half still, I'm like, okay, this game's going to go.
Yeah, the fact that Brunson scored half of their points, and then obviously because he scored 45, the Knicks as a whole, the outside of him, only scored 49, and they were struggling, and he was the only one finding his offense. So it was just the thing about this game and this series as a whole. I saw Iman Shumpert on SportsCenter the night the Knicks won. He made a pretty good point where he talked about veteran leadership and how important that is, and how like it's kind of like when it comes to veteran leadership, it's sort of taken a back road in turn, or like it's taken a backstage to everything else right now, especially in the modern day NBA. Nobody really talks about it as much because, it's such star powered heavy, but it's just, I like how he talked about it showed for the Knicks how important veteran leadership is, and just having a team full of vets. Obviously you had, the Spurs, you had veterans on their squad as well, but guys like Barnes, who started the majority of the season, he didn't play outside of game one. I don't think he played another minute of the finals after game one.
But that is where one of the things Mitch Johnson got wrong as we break it down even more. He decided to go with the guys, the younger guys, right?
Yeah.
And sacrificed. He sacrificed.
Yeah.
He sacrificed Barnes, who would have helped in the fourth quarters. I think Barnes would have helped.
It just doesn't make sense to me to have all these vets on your bench, but you're not playing any one of them. You know what I mean? Or you're playing just one. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Obviously, you want that veteran leadership because of the locker room aspect of it too. But at the same time, you also get a good amount of it when you put them out on the floor too. And it just in terms of basketball, I always say it like this. Because when I was in high school, or you look at college teams and they have like guys at the end of the bench that are seniors, but they don't play any minutes. In high school, we would call them glorified managers, but they're still important for the locker room aspect because they're leadership. But at the same time, if you have too many of those guys at the end of the bench and you're not playing any of them, you're kind of just shortening up your bench and then putting too much pressure on everybody else to perform, and you're going to have leadership holes on the floor. So I found that aspect of it to be well in favor of the Knicks, because the Knicks have a team full of vets. Everybody on there has been in the league at least 7 to 8 years. Whereas the Knicks, obviously the Spurs are one of the youngest teams to ever make the finals. And so, and that showed through time and time again, especially in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing too. I'm glad you brought up the high school comparison, because that touched me very deeply, because that was I was manager for 5 years on my high school basketball team, and I got to play one game in my career, in my varsity career. So that touched me deeply. So I appreciate that.
Well, I'm sorry. We kind of meant it as a joke when I was playing. It was sort of an insult, but at the same time, it was a joking insult. So
Actually,
I do appreciate you doing that, because I do view myself. If we wanted to bring that back to the high school thing, and a lot of my brothers on the team said the same thing. Like, I was the emotional heartbeat of that team our senior year, and that's the thing. It those guys, and so going back to the Spurs aspect of this and getting it off my high school career. I know, shout out Wilson Memorial, but anyway, going back to the Spurs side. I do agree with you on that, because they had Kelly Olynyk on that bench. I think they had a couple other guys.
Plumlee, Bismack Biyombo, Olynyk, and Barnes. Those were like the 4 vets that were on that bench.
And I'm like, most of the year. They play Barnes in key moments of the Thunder series. Why are you not playing Barnes any more minutes in this finals?
Yeah.
What made you not play Harrison Barnes? Was it the collapse in game 1 where you were up and then Brunson took over and you felt like you didn't play Harper enough? Or was it, and was it something else outside of that? Do you feel like he was too old in that situation to keep up with that Knicks,
I don't know if he was too old. He's only 32, 33.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's still one of the younger vets in the league. And it's crazy to me. He was, he's your champion. He's the one that's won a championship on that team. I think he's the only one that's really won a championship.
He's the only one that's won a championship. Well, maybe Plumlee. I think he was on the Nuggets one.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Or it might have been his brother. I don't know.
Well, I know that he's on the late. I think he was. Yeah, he might have been on the Nuggets, and he might be a champ. But doesn't really. He didn't really.
Yeah.
Play.
Well, Barnes was more integral for his championship team.
If you want to be nitpicky, I think Olynyk was on one of the Heat championships.
Oh yeah.
No, he wasn't. He was on the Heat finals. I think he was on those finals teams, but he wasn't a champion.
Yeah, they didn't win a championship.
He never got the
chip. So I think that's the thing you brought up Barnes. I'm glad you brought up. There's something that no one has talked about at all. Is the Harrison Barnes aspect of him not playing after game 1, and he was a key part of that bench rotation.
Yeah, well, he was a starter for the majority of the year until Champagnie started coming along, and he was just like, "Okay, I'll take a back road." But
and that the fact that that's the thing. He lost the starting role. He made the smart play to come off the bench. Now in the finals, you sacrificed. Other than game 1, you didn't really play Harrison, which he could have used Harrison Barnes. Especially, like I said, game 4, when you're up 29, Harrison Barnes could have stabilized that situation.
Yeah.
And made sure they got to the basket or got to the free throw line instead of chucking 8 threes. In game 5, he probably could have hit for the Spurs. Because the Spurs struggle. That's the weird uncharacteristic thing we haven't really talked about. Yeah, we talked about Castle being 1 for 10. That was really characteristic for Castle, which was weird that he struggled from the floor. It is weird. I don't know if he was not taking smart shots. He probably wasn't taking smart shots if he was 1 for 10.
I think some of it you got to give credit to the Knicks defense. They were great in these fourth quarters. I think the Spurs only shot 33% in the fourth in this entire series. So that's a defensive thing, man.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Also, Fox struggled from the floor again in this game. Yeah, and that was a killer. When you look at it, Harper and Wemby were the only two really guys that you could count on. You played Champagnie. He was hot a little bit, but you didn't play him in the fourth, like we talked about.
No, you didn't play him at all. Yeah,
that we talked about earlier.
Yeah,
and then when you look at the details of that game 5, it comes down to. I hate to say this, Wemby missing those 2 free throws. It comes to that.
Yeah,
because it would have kept the Spurs' chances. Even more so, if he makes both of those. Because if he makes both of those, I think the Spurs win that game. I really do. Deep down, I think we push it to 6. I think we're playing tomorrow night. If he makes both of those, the fact that he missed both, it gave the Knicks that extra juice, and they had to change the whole game plan and to push it through. I think the Spurs would have used the crowd to. But that's the thing about the game 5 crowd. It was half Knicks. It was mostly. The
Knicks kind of took over a little bit.
Yeah, the Knicks took over, knowing that they have a shot to win the championship. And
I'd like to pose a question.
Yeah.
How do you grade Mitch Jones? I should ask, how do you grade his managing the minutes of everyone, but particularly Wemby?
I would say D plus a man. I'll say D plus.
Yeah, because he would because the thing is, you could go small conceivably against the Knicks and still kind of get away with it. But the thing is, like, he would always just play Cornette. It would just be Cornette all the time. He wouldn't like substitute it out or maybe like try and like do a different lineup where Cornette doesn't get as abused as he was in this series.
Right.
But I just feel like in terms of the managing minutes part, it was definitely a C.
I'll give a D+ for the Wemby part that Shane brought up, because the managing Wemby's minutes specifically played him too much, way too much for what he was used to. Because he was only remember when we were talking about the finals preview, he only really played 20, 29 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Throughout most of the season.
Yeah,
really
now he's getting like 40 minutes a game almost.
Yeah, now he's playing 40 minutes in the NBA finals.
And you really could see the fatigue wearing down on him, especially in this series. Like when you get to those fourth quarters, he looked really sluggish and not able to be the same level of defender that he could be if he's fresh.
Yeah,
That's
it didn't seem like. Yeah, it didn't seem like Johnson wanted him off the court for too long, which obviously you don't because he's your best player. But there were a lot of just like Cornette in for a minute.
Yeah,
and then
or
right
like 2
back
minutes.
out.
He was in sometimes he would just be in for 2 minutes, and then Wemby comes right back in, and he's playing the end of the quarter, and then he's playing the start of the next quarter. Yep. So it was only like 2 minute intervals that he really wasn't playing, and I just didn't understand that. Because here's the thing about like if you want to manage a minute, obviously the stat in this series was the fact that the Knicks only shot 38% when Wemby was on the floor versus 58% with Cornette on the floor. Yep. But at the same time, look, you got to give your big boys some time off. You got to give give them at least 3 to 4 minutes. Like even if the Knicks make a run, that's what you got timeouts for. That's what you got. Okay, we'll make a sub here or do something else. Like you got to just do it that way. It was just not managed well at all.
Well, that's the thing too. That's where you play Barnes too. That's where you play Barnes.
That's where you play Barnes too. Like that's why I said if they wanted to go small, maybe put Barnes at the 5. I don't know. Or even go deeper into the bench. Like, even though Plumlee and Bismack haven't played anything, or Olynyk haven't played at all in this playoffs, that was at that point where you're just like, well, if we're not getting anything out of Cornette being on the floor, how about we just put in Kelly Olynyk? How about we do that? We still got size, but we also got a better guy on offense because he can shoot. Switch it up a little bit. And I understand, some critics of that may be like, well, he hasn't played as much, so how would it, they mesh well together on the court? Yeah. Like, even then, look, when you're in the championship round, you got to do what you got to do.
You got to do whatever it takes to win the game. And make it, which Mike Brown did in game 4, where he played Alvarado and Brunson together.
Yeah. Well, he also played Diarra in there, too.
Yep.
For a long stretches, obviously because Towns was in foul trouble, but at the same time, he still went deep into his bench and allowed his bench players to stay in and give ample rest to everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what helped the comeback.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys clocked this, but there was a part, I think it was like maybe with 4:30 left in the fourth, where they took Wemby out in game 5 to put him back in like half a minute later.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you had given him 2 solid minutes of rest to end the third, you would not be in this position because you can't.
Or even at the beginning of the fourth, even if they did it at the beginning. Let's say you give him some rest, like last 2 minutes of the third quarter, and then the first 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, you give him about 4 minutes, and obviously you have the intermission between the quarters that gives him about an extra 5-6 minutes. So you get him an ample amount of rest. Yeah, I think he looks a lot different in that fourth quarter of game 5.
I think he probably defends Brunson a little better. I think he makes those 2 free throws. There's another play that I think was key was that because I'm not sure if you remember last episode, but we were talking about what they could do defensively, and I think we both kind of agreed like, well, you put a guy on Brunson, but then you definitely have Wemby shadow. He's in when Brunson gets in the paint. So that scenario actually happened. I remember the play. He goes by Vassal. I'm not sure if it's Vassal or Vassal, but that guy. And Wemby's like on the side, and Brunson kind of like fakes him out. Like he goes for a pass and then says, "No, I'm just gonna go up with the left," and it's a beautiful layup. And like Wemby was just on an island there, and I was like, "Please just go to the paint, and if he kicks out, he kicks out, but stop the All-Star from making the layups."
Yeah. Well, some of that was a Brunson just being skillful and understanding. Okay, I'm going to hesitate a little bit, make Wemby, guess. Okay, I'm not going to shoot here. He made him hesitate, got into his body, and was able to finish a tough shot. And that just harkens back to being tired. And then obviously defensive game plan. I think the Spurs figured it out. Like, okay, we're like after the first 3 games, and obviously it happened in game 3, where they were just like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stop taking Wemby off of the big man in Cat on defense and having him shadow the rim. We're gonna stop doing that. And there was like I think it really helped their defense out. It was just the fact that the minutes aspect of it kind of deterred everything.
Yeah, 100%. So now let's real quick, since we kind of went into the in-depth, we got a couple other topics. We got to get this, kind of wrapped up within the hour and a half mark. Let's go real quick about Brunson's all-time status before we get to our last few topics. They brought up inside the NBA guys brought up to Rick Brunson about his all-time Knicks status, right? And Rick was kind of, he loves his son, but he feels like Patrick's still the greatest Knick of all time, which is fine.
They play together, so.
Yeah, and that's his teammate, 100%. And I can see that, but now it's a huge debate, and I think Perkins was the one that said that now he is the greatest Knick of all time. Which for me, it's tough because you got Willis Reed, who won the 2 championships in the 70s.
Yeah.
And had that epic
Clyde Frazier.
And Clyde Frazier. Yeah. You got those 2 guys. Then you got Patrick Ewing, right? You got Melo. Then you got Brunson now is definitely on that. He could be on that. My Mount Rushmore Knicks is this: Clyde, Reed, Ewing, Brunson. Those are the 4 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the Mount Rushmore. But it just depends on how you value Brunson's run and what this championship brings.
I feel like he has a solid argument, definitely, for being the greatest Knick of all time, just because of what he's been able to do from an accolades perspective, multiple All-Star teams with the Knicks. He's made multiple All-NBA teams, and obviously the success that he's brought to the Knicks, he's been in the playoffs every single year he's been with New York. So, and whereas, previously New York would maybe be in the playoffs once every decade, but now they're in the playoffs consistently since he arrived.
Yeah.
And the other aspect of it is he's a playoff riser. I mean, he's averaged 30 in the playoffs the last 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And, he's consistently outperformed his regular season statistics when it comes to the playoffs. So, and obviously on this latest run, you go all the way Eastern Conference Finals MVP, win the first championship in, 53 years. I think he definitely has a solid argument. You can make an argument for Reed or Frazier in there too. I just feel like, let's say if they win the title next year and Brunson does the same exact thing, then he'll be the greatest Knick ever. But I just feel like he's in the discussion. He has a very strong argument. I just don't think he has the nod just yet.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would still give it to Clyde. I would give it to Clyde right now because of the legacy of those 2 early Knicks championships.
Yeah.
And he was the floor general of both of those. And that's the thing. Brunson has the potential to eclipse it next year if the Knicks go back, like you said.
Or even if he carves out a long career with the Knicks and it's successful, like maybe he wins an MVP or 2, something like that. Obviously, that's hypothetical future stuff, but
I mean, well, that's the thing about getting 1 ring because you're already matching Clyde Frazier, right?
No, he has 2.
Clyde was on both Knicks championships.
Who's on both of those? Okay.
Yeah.
He was on both of the Knicks championships in the 70s.
So if he gets 2 rings, he'll tie Clyde.
Yeah.
I think that it's weird comparing him to Melo, but I almost kind of want to give Brunson the edge just because I think that the talent that the Knicks team had this year is probably comparable to what Melo had when he had Shump, J.R. Smith, wins like not the insanity year, but he was pretty good.
Well, he also had Amari and Tyson Chandler too.
Yeah,
so,
they had a good team. They had a good team that just didn't get in the over the hump of the playoffs. Those years.
In their fairness, they had to with LeBron on some.
Well, in one of those they had to deal with LeBron. The other one they lost to the Pacers in the second round. And I don't think
right about that.
They made 2012. I think it was 2000. I think 2012, 2013 is when they made the playoffs. Obviously, lost to the Heat in 2012, and then lost to the Pacers in 2013. And then they did make the playoffs again for years. For the rest of Melo's time there, didn't make the playoffs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I would say this: he's not the number 1 Knick yet.
Yeah.
But odds for him on being the number 1 Knick, I'd probably give it like -300. Like I'm
Yeah.
Well, in terms of betting, is good. Like we think it's gonna happen. Yeah.
And there's a good chance. There's a good chance if he keeps on his trajectory that he could be the greatest Knick of all time. Which is we didn't think of a lot of people didn't think of that when he signed there for that deal initially. Because everybody
thought it was a bad sign. They were just like, why are you signing this undersized guy that was a bench player for the Mavericks for most of his time there? So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So which is crazy. I think overall when we get to the Brunson legacy piece, like all time, Perk said he's top 75 already. I could see that. But there's a lot of those guys that are top 75 are legit Hall of Famers. And I think the Brunson will be a Hall of Famer one day because when you combine the 2 championships in college, the championship now, all the accolades he has in college and the NBA, he will be a Naismith Basketball Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about that.
Undoubtedly, yeah.
But when you talk about that 75 greatest NBA players of all time, there's some guys on there that have even more accolades than Brunson does.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. Do you take them off the list because they don't have a championship?
Well, I feel like you could put them there intermittently for right now. I just feel like interim wise, you could put him in there because he's got you got accolades, obviously, Finals MVP, 45 points, iconic moment in the Finals. Yeah. So obviously, you should put him in there because top 75. That's a whole host of players, and there's some players on there that have accolades, but they don't have a championship. So. And Brunson's still got a while to go. He's only 28, so he's got some time to really.
There's some time for Brunson to really make some noise. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you there. But that being said, we'll talk about more of Brunson in the future of the Knicks when we get to offseason stuff. And I'll say this: I was wrong. We were all wrong about the Knicks. Yeah. We were all wrong about New York in our predictions.
Yeah, we all predicted Spurs. Yeah.
To piggyback off of that, I think you're almost underselling how long we were wrong for. Because remember the All-Star break?
Yeah.
Chuck and Shaq and Stephen A. and myself, I think most of us agree, the class of the NBA are the Thunder and the Spurs. It'll be whoever wins the East. Think back to what Draymond Green said. Oh, you just won the East. It's no big deal. Winning the East is nothing. And now look at them.
Yeah.
So
it's like what I said in the when we were going into this series and everybody was talking about, New York doesn't have a chance in hell of beating the Spurs. Mm-hmm. I was just like, it felt like the whole discussion was similar to like the Mavericks and the Celtics series 2 years ago, where everybody was just like, well, the Mavericks just went through hell and, they get into the finals and look, when you run into a bad matchup, you run into a bad matchup. And evidently that year, the Celtics were the better matchup and they won, deservedly so. And then this season, same deal with the Knicks.
The Knicks won 6 of 8 games against the Spurs all season.
Yeah, they went. They were 2-6. Yeah, the Knicks or the Spurs were 2-6 against them. That's crazy. They were every other Eastern Conference team. They were 25-3, and then versus the Knicks 2-6.
Yep.
Yeah,
that shows. That shows.
That's a matchup problem. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a matchup problem to say the least that we didn't look into. And we were talking about the NBA Cup, and we were like, this is different. This is going to be different. Well, it turned out it wasn't that much different.
It was kind of the same thing, yeah.
It was not that much different. All right, so we got 15 minutes to go over these last two segments. Let's get through this one quick. We'll have a full draft preview next week as the draft's next Tuesday. We'll have a full NBA draft coverage episode. But we have to talk about the breaking kind of news that Shams reported earlier today about Darryn Peterson only visiting with the Wizards and only the Wizards.
Mm-hmm.
As he brought up too, Devonta has only visited with the Wizards and the Jazz. So Devonta has only had those two visits. Peterson's only having the one team visit with the Wizards and not visiting with anyone else. So they both think they're going to be at least the one pick, or they both think they have a good shot at being the one pick.
Yeah.
At least Devonta has the backup plan. Granted, I think he's from that Utah area, so he wanted.
Yeah, he wants to be in Utah. Yeah.
There's a reason he could be. He wants to be in Utah, so he wants to give them that that situation. So here's my thing. I think this is a telltale sign where things could go. It could go like this for the Wizards. They pick Devonta, and then the Jazz will pick Peterson without having a visit because they've done it before.
Yeah.
They did with Ace Bailey. So there's that.
Yeah.
Here's my now hypothesis of what's going to happen. I think next Tuesday we see a 22 highlight package as the number one pick. I think we might get a Darryn Peterson number one pick.
Okay.
Situation. I am really thinking the Wizards go with Darryn Peterson, even though they have guards already and they kind of need a wing. Like
we need more of a wing than a guard, but yeah.
Than a guard. I really do think this because here's my thing. They could do the unthinkable somehow and mortgage the rest of their future to get that wing for a certain Greek freak situation. That could happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen because I think that would be the longest of long shots kind of a deal. If they got young. But especially after already getting AD and Trae Young. That'll be a long shot, and they would have to mortgage a lot of their future picks if they want to still have Peterson.
Well, we don't have, and then we'd have to mortgage a lot of our younger players for it as well. So it's doubly destroying our future just to get Giannis.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I heard he wants to be in Boston. Just saying.
That's definitely been a rumor that's been really kicking up lately. So I feel like it's. Honestly, the Giannis stuff, I feel like it's between the Heat and the Celtics at this point.
Yeah, probably. That's probably the two. But that's the thing. So we have more time to talk about draft. I just wanted to throw that out there real quick.
Yeah.
That it's likely that if Peterson's only visiting the Wizards, right? It's one of two things that are going to happen. The Wizards like him enough they're going to take him one, and then Devonta gets his wish and goes to Utah anyway. Or two, they draft Devonta, the Wizards do, and then Utah's like, okay, we'll just go ahead and draft the best player available like we did with Ace Bailey, even though he didn't visit with us. So those are the two outcomes. Those are the obvious outcomes.
As a Wizards fan, I think we're keeping our options open, which is okay. I don't mind it, but we need to draft Devonta.
I know you do.
Enough of this. We think we're going to draft him or draft somebody else. Just draft Devonta. It's a freaking layup. Just do it. Yeah. We need a wing. We don't need a guard. We got enough guards as it is.
Yeah.
Just get a wing. We need wing help. And then from that point on, and obviously we have a decent amount of cap room for free agency. If we have any other holes on the roster, just fill them through free agency. So just Devonta, and worry about free agency.
Yeah,
As a
exactly.
Wizards fan, please, for the love of God, just do it, please.
Yes, and we'll get more into it next week as we have more updates. I know Jacob had a Clippers update. I think there was something around the 5th pick. We were. I mean, if we had more time, I think we'll spend a few minutes on it, but we just don't have that much time.
We'll talk about that next week. It's fine. Yeah.
So that being said, let's get into the WNBA. Because we really didn't get into it last week. Let's get into it this week. We had a big game with Kelsey Plum having 43 and Copper for the Mercury had 41 and that overtime thriller the other day. That was a big game. Kelsey Plum is continuing her push for MVP this season. I think she has a good shot if the Sparks can get some wins. Yeah. She has a good shot at MVP. I really do.
If they can keep stacking their wins, be a playoff, team, and I think if she's able to lead the league in scoring, I do think she has a pretty good shot at doing it. I think it's between her and Aja Wilson at this point.
Yep.
And right now, she is averaging 26.6, which puts her #1 top scorer. So over Wilson, over Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, over all of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's been the best scorer so far, and there's a good shot that she'll win MVP this season.
Yeah.
Keep it up, Kelsey Plum.
Yeah.
I love watching you play. That being said, let's get into the Paige Beckers side of it too, since Shane brought it up. Paige Beckers was sat out over the weekend with an injury in a key matchup that would have been nationally televised. I think she's had this injury for a little bit. I'll go ahead and look up the update for Beckers real quick as we talk about it. I think it was I can't remember what the injury was off the top of my head, but I knew she was out. She's right.
What is it?
It's a right ankle.
Right ankle? Okay.
It's a right ankle
injury.
At least
it's not anything with her knees. That was the more concerning part of it because they didn't specify at first. They said it was a lower body injury.
Yeah.
So, you hoped with her history of, knee injuries, it wasn't anything like that. So the right ankle, that's good. That's good to hear.
So she rolled the ankle in the game. She scored her season high 31 against the Mercury. She sat out the fire game of the weekend. And it is day to day right now with that ankle injury. So that is something to monitor for us Beckers fan. Like if you're a Paige Beckers fan, like I am, that is something to monitor for sure. And for Shane's, I'll also go ahead and spoil this, which you do picks this week, obviously because there's no NBA games this week. Obviously, we're gonna come back with Shane's picks next week. With the WNBA.
Yeah.
So I hope my man Shane does some lineups over the week, get some flow with that.
Collect some information.
To get good and let me get some money up.
Just get some information for us for next bet. Start that next week. But the final WNBA thing that I have to bring up is this Caitlin Clark, Stephanie White kind of drama that's been manifested by some people. We don't know for sure. The tones are there when you look at their
maybe you should put drama in air quotes.
Yeah, it's drama in air quotes with a certain crowd. With a certain crowd of Caitlin Clark fans that don't normally watch the WNBA product. They just watch the Fever because of Caitlin Clark, right? It's those people, right? And it's like I saw Jason Whitlock of all people talk about it too. I'm like, brother, you have not been relevant in sports media in a long damn time. You've been a conservative pundit at best, and I want to call you that. And the best thing you've had in sports, well, not really on his end because he's been terrible over the last 10 years. But anyway, when Stephen A. roasted him. On his
that was the only relevant moment he's had.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, was the Stephen A. beef. But that was it. Yeah. And you want to come up and say, "Oh, Caitlin Clark needs to move." Like they need, Caitlin Clark's going to leave Indiana, or Stephanie White's going to get fired. The Fever are still in this playoff race.
Yeah,
what are we doing? I think
they're
it's
still a good
like,
team. Yeah.
the weird thing is with the drama from these certain Indiana Fever fans that they bring up is Stephanie White drawing plays for Kelsey Mitchell instead of Caitlin Clark, right? That is
or like in the game scenarios when they're driving up a play for Aaliyah Boston instead of Caitlin Clark.
Exactly. Or fouling. Or kind of foul. It's
so some context around that.
Yeah.
Mitchell is the 5th highest scorer in the league.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark is the 4th. But it's only by a hair. So Mitchell is having an amazing season. She will get plays drawn up for her.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Clark can still be the Batman on a team with a very good Robin.
Yeah.
And they just beat, I don't know, was it their last game, but they just beat the Sky.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
In an overtime game, and it was off of Clark. So
yeah, it was the Clark show. Yeah, because she hit a game. She hit a tying 3 to send it in overtime. Yeah.
Yeah, and also she had the one a couple weeks ago that everyone was like circling around, or like late last week, I think, or no, before last week's show that we had that everyone it was circling around was the game winner against the Mystics.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark, like Sophia throws the ball into Caitlin Clark and the Mystics girl tried to go for the steal. She missed it, but Caitlin hits the deep 3. That is the one that really started it, where Sophie, I think, puts out a post on Instagram where they had the diagram of the play.
Oh.
Well,
lost him again.
We have a diagram of Brandon right now.
Well, I know what he's talking about. There was like a diagram of the play, and it was more so going to be like a Kelsey Mitchell thing, but because it was a broken play, it ended up in Clark's hands to win. So, we lost you for a second there.
Yeah.
You back? Oh, he's not back. He's got to restart.
He might be back in a sec. I'll say real quick, I feel like that's comparable to Game 4 in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
After the game had basically been over, but the Spurs had one inbound. They ran a play to Stephon Castle.
Yeah.
Because they knew that Wemby was going to be covered. So that's the reason why I felt like Mitchell got the play there.
Yeah. Well, like for some of these, it's more so like who's got the hot hand at the end of the game. Like if Clark was more on fire in like these fourth quarters, then maybe the plays would be drawn up more for her. Well, they were kind of in the Sky game. I remember towards the end of the game, they set up a down. I think it was like a pin down screen to get Clark open for the 3 to tie. So it was sort of like, look, NBA coaching is hard, and it's not an easy thing. And sometimes you don't give the ball to your best player when it's in the game, when the game's on the line. Sometimes you just be like, okay, we got to draw something up for so and so because they're red hot right now. So it's just it's the whole coach drama with the Fever. I feel like is a nothing burger, honestly.
It really is. I know I lost my connection twice on this episode. I don't know if it's a bad omen or what's going on. Sorry about that, everybody. As the host of the show, I should not be losing my connection. But sometimes it's the first time it's happened since I went to Restream. I don't know what's going on with Restream for me tonight, but hey, sometimes it happens. Sometimes technology is not our best friend.
Yeah,
and I'm sure these guys kept y'all entertained while I lost the connection to both.
We tried our best. We tried.
Yeah, I mean these guys are great. That's why I wanted to do this podcast still when I left Apex with these guys because they're great.
Speaking of which, we got a minute and a half left. We'll go through our socials. Obviously, you see at the bottom of the screen for me. You can find me. I'm a Total Apex sports writer. You can find me on Total Apex Sports. You can just go to my page. You'll find all of my articles I posted on there, past and present. And then, of course, you can find me on Muckrack at I wouldn't say there's no username. You can just find me on Muckrack. I got all my stuff on there too as well. And then obviously you can find me on Instagram. My username is right there, JDPerrine24. I post all my stuff on there too when I get the chance to write. I haven't had a chance because summer's been busy down here in Myrtle Beach. So Shane, you want to give your stuff?
I also write at Total Apex still. I got to figure out how to put that title under my name. But you can find myself at Total Apex. You can find myself on Instagram, written 2 Shanes like that. It's the same for X, formerly known as Twitter. In terms of like what you can find, sad as I am, the NBA season is over. It's probably going to be some previews of the NFL season. It's getting into June, which means that some fantasy drafts are already started. So you definitely are going to want to look at some articles to try to plan out your drafts. And obviously, so like personally, I'm probably going to be doing like a lot of DFS. WNBA, so I can get your picks ready for next week. I'm dabbling in like baseball DFS too, but that's really tough. So
baseball is tough. Baseball DFS is
baseball
tough.
is a lot more complicated of a beast to figure out fantasy wise.
I'm drafting players that get 0 points, and I'm like, bro, what? Like,
it's crazy. It's crazy. And some of the studs that you want, it's it's crazy. But so, with that being said, obviously you can find me at Ellis Highlight Reel on YouTube, Ellis Highlight Reel on TikTok, as some of y'all have joined on there and stuff like that. You can find me on Facebook right now. It's Brandon Ellis on Facebook. Where also I'm streaming this episode on there, but I might make a actual Ellis Highlight Reel page on Facebook soon enough and connect it to my Facebook, so we can just stream it on there. Everything like that too. You can also find me on Instagram at _BLS32, BLS30 on Twitter. On my Twitter, I also promote stuff on there. I'm going to be writing finally this week. I've taken a little bit of time off just to try to get this set up and making sure, but I'll be writing on ellishighlightreal.wordpress.com starting tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday this week. And I meant to do my Friday show last week, but I got busy with errands at the house and stuff like that. So my Friday show will be noon. Be mostly just me. In the future, might be some of the local area guys, and you might see some of these guys too every once in a while on there too, talking stuff other than basketball. So, but yeah, that is the plan moving forward. It just depends on their situations and stuff like, or my situation. Like I said, the Friday shows going to be mostly me doing my thing like I did back in the day. I talk about Eagles. I talk about Orioles. I'll talk about other NBA topics on there. Give my might be previewing some of the stuff we talk about here and making sure we talk about y'all go to here, for more details. But I'll also talk about it there. I'll talk about the World Cup some more on those shows. The U.S. on Friday. That'll be one topic I'd actually do talk about and previewing the Australia match on this Friday show. So look forward to that. That'll be a fun time.
Yeah.
So that'll be Friday show is going to be the U.S. performance against Paraguay and the Australia preview. Some Eagles news that's coming out and the Orioles this Friday. I might actually try to get some of the high school stuff in there too. Talk about my local area high school stuff that kind of just happened. I know Buffalo Gap High School. I want to shout them out real quick on this show, and we'll probably talk about them in depth on Friday's show. Their softball team made it to state finals and losing in the state final, but it is a fun. That was a fun team this year, and I will highlight them. Also, Turner Ashby baseball, I know made the state title. I'm not sure what their result was yet. I have to find out, and everything like that. So that's another one to look into. North from where I'm at, Buffalo Gap is a little west from where I'm at. So those are just a couple teams I wanted to shout out real quick and talk about. Probably will be talking about on Friday. I try to get one of the reporters on for that too if he's available. I might talk to him. I might talk him over a week on Facebook and but we'll see. If that doesn't happen, I'll just talk about them myself, those two teams myself, like near the end of the show or something like that. But anyway, for Jacob and Shane, hope their writing goes well. Like they said, follow them on Apex Sports. The site finally merged. Ironically, as I was about to pass, a lot of people left. The site finally merged. But that's how the business goes sometimes. It's like a lot of turn happens, and it's I was looking forward to that site merging, but then all the stuff happened with
Yeah.
and my passions.
Well, things
didn't
changed
align anymore
Things
with the company.
changed.
And I'm glad I'm doing this now. So that being said, for the Ellis highlight reel and my guys at Total Apex Sports, we see y'all next Monday night for the draft preview. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.